Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
With a fourth straight month of strong job growth announced today, the great economic renewal of America continues. The recent flurry of economic data gives statistical evidence to the successful growth policies of President Trump, the leader who created the conditions for enterprise to flourish in this country before the China virus is doing it again. The Trump boom 2.0. From record home sales to soaring manufacturing indices, the on-the-ground hard evidence points to an America that's roaring back economically. The V-shaped recovery is a reality. As the economy powers back up, hiring expands with this fourth month in a row of stellar payrolls additions. The last thing this burgeoning economic rebirth needs is a Joe Biden presidency. He threatens $4 trillion in new taxes that would crush this economic renaissance and punish 82% of all taxpayers. He would revert back to a place of economic submission to China. We're not going backwards to globalism and slow growth. We will continue the amazing work of economic revival led by the jobs president, Donald J. Trump.
The number one issue that we're encountering in these door-to-door encounters, Steve, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of them in key states, is the economy. And it's not even close. They say the most important issue facing them is getting this economy back to where it was pre-COVID, creating jobs, and restoring American economic greatness. And I think that that is an issue that works to Donald Trump's strength.
The CCP virus coming out of the Chinese Communist Party, Hubei province, Wuhan, the Wuhan P4 lab that triggered an economic inferno that then triggered a global capital markets crisis that is now, I guess, rotated into a geopolitical crisis. In January this year, that stopped really an economy that was on fire. It's beginning Labor Day weekend. Unbelievable. The jobs number that came out today. And really what it means with wages and the direction. If you had told people back in March that when we were looking at 25% Great Depression type numbers, that on the beginning of Labor Day weekend, we would have unemployment down around, 8.5%, wage growth in this last quarter, or last month, and employment participation, jobs participation at 61%, 62%, and total crickets from the Democrat, and really not even enough support. I think the White House and the campaign, who are on fire on policy, the guys ought to be on the show. Everybody, they ought to have guys on these shows nonstop. We connected dots there. Ralph Reed's head of the Faith and Family Coalition. That's an evangelical Christian group. They're going door to door. They're going to knock on 5 million doors and do phone banks or anything like that. He's on the show the other day saying, hey, I asked, what's the number one issue? I thought it was going to be life or, something like that. No, the economy, jobs, and then Trump delivers. You're in the War Room, 4 September, year of our Lord 2020. From our nation's capital, it's the kickoff of Labor Day weekend, episode 369. Now with over 13.5 million downloads. We're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, America's Voice.News, Dish Channel 219, now in 14 million homes. And, of course, Newsmax TV in 70 million homes. Chris Radio TV, G News, GTV, and G News and GTV put us in Mandarin all over the world. also have done an amazing job of making great content for us on their site that we are able to pull down. And we're going to have a lot of that today. An absolute jam show. But we have to start with where the rubber meets the road. And I got to tell you, there's crickets out of the Democrats. Joe Biden's going to have some, I guess, response today. He's wandering around yesterday, talking about, I don't know, some guy that invented the light bulb before Edison. What planet is this guy on? Right? Maybe it was. I don't know. That's fine.
Actually, it was Lewis Latimer who created the carbon filament.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But that he mixed it up. But it's undisputable Thomas Edison invented it.
But Latimer's a real guy. I got that. Yeah. Okay, fine. That's good. Keep going, Joe. It's time to take Joe back to the cave, and have Jill put the bib on him, right? Feed him. You notice he doesn't do anything around sundown. I don't want to be snarky about this, but it's all early morning stuff. The Proof of Life podcast. Late in the afternoon, about 4 o'clock, Joe starts to slide into the can we cut some TV on and watch reruns of I Love Lucy. I don't know why we're so snarky today. We got so much to get to, but Raheem, Jack, here's the thing. This is process. Right? This is all a process. And this is why you have to take Trump's basic economic formula here. Now, listen, have we hit it with a $3 trillion bazooka in the Federal Reserve? We're going to have a historic deficit? That's all correct. But remember, and particularly for the science-based, evidence-based, data-based, our betters, this was going to be a Great Depression we were never going to pull out of. And right now you got wage growth, and it's just hitting it every month. And remember, and we were even advocated that there's no fourth spanning device. There's no fourth bridge on the recovery bill. That's Mark Meadows is playing a little bit of hardball with that with Nancy Pelosi. This is without the extra juice of the fourth stimulus, which would have been somewhere between $1 trillion and $3 trillion. That's absent that. So we had started with Cortez. And, Cortez, Jason Miller, Greg Mans, all former War Room alumni over the campaign. I don't know why we're not seeing Cortez. Cortez will be saying that they put up on the campaign's website. That ought to be all over. Cortez ought to be carpet bombed everywhere. For the Democrats to listen, the working class Democrats, particularly the Bernie guys, hey, you guys got to make a decision. What don't you like here? And understand that the president had to go in and basically step up and both on the aggregate demand side, right, and on the capital market side, but it seems like he's delivered. These are not numbers that Democrats wanted to see with under 60 days to go. The reason we did Ralph Reed is a social conservative. His group is to focus on, I'm sure they got targeted. The reason they're knocking on the door, this person's kind of an evangelical. That's who we're getting out. They're not randomly going and knocking on doors. And so when they're talking to these social conservatives that they're trying to get to vote, because we've got to get 80% of the evangelicals, and they're telling us we're only going to get 60, got to get 80, like we got in 16. They're sitting there going, what's the number one thing? They're looking for abortion, move the capital to Israel, jobs, the economy. Right? I'm an evangelical Christian, but somehow I got to pay the bills. Jobs in the economy. That's from Ralph Reed. The guy's got probably one of the best ground games out there. What does Trump deliver on Labor Day weekend? Jobs. And wage increase. How did that happen? So Raheem, Jack, jump in here, particularly given where we were in March. This is why this is all about contextualization. Right, we were going to have the Great Depression. People were going to be out of work for 100 years. We still haven't taken care of the supply chain. We're going to talk about floods in the second hour. We got so much. This is going to be a crazy show, so just strap in. We're going to be talking about floods, wiping out the medical supply chains. The Rosemary Gibson has been telling us about. We're talking about the real supply chains. Peter Navarro's trying to bring back. Yeah. But guys, contextualize this, because now we're down into the politics. And by the way, from yesterday's show, it's not November 3rd. We're going to have the president this. Remember, I think it's going to be the eve of the inauguration. So we got 5 months to grind. So don't stop leaning on your shovels here. Let's get back to work. Okay, Raheem.
You guys are very good at marketing in this country, I'll tell you that. It was about 120 years before Thomas Edison that Ebenezer Kinnersley actually put together, in England, a man from Gloucester put together the first, what you might describe as incandescent light. I'm just going to say,
all I can say about that is, come on, man.
We're excellent at marketing because you had the greatest empire in the world, and we were the jewel in the crown. And you
India was the jewel in the crown.
Exactly. Well, that's the reason. And exactly, sir, why you lost the United States of America. But that's okay.
I know. We got this incredible story that we're seeing at Revolver that we're going to start discussing in the next segment as well. But I was just checking at the beginning of this show. Not that I'm obsessed with these things or anything. I was checking at the beginning of the show on SimilarWeb, which is a traffic aggregator, right? It looks like the Drudge Report has lost about 20 million views a month in the last couple of months.
Oh, so you went down in back of that, the Revolver story and got to the things. Yes, the numbers they had in the initial Revolver story were just not correct. 3.8 million uniques and 35 million page views. No, I commented that number, whoever their insider was not an accurate number. Drudge's number's way off. And today I want to talk about Drudge. Drudge has got main link to Me in the Wall. They got the ProPublica. Here's the thing, Drudge. You got to write this down. The reason the left is all over the wall. We built that part of the wall, our second part of the wall. We built it on the river, right? That's why they're so triggered. You never talk about the one in El Paso because that's the finest wall. And I'm just quoting Chad Wolf, the finest mile of 2/3 of a mile ever built up a side of a hill. But the reason that triggers them on the Rio Grande is that's on the river, brother. Suck on that, okay? Suck on that. And it's not going anywhere, okay? It's not going anywhere. The butterfly woman and all of it's not going anywhere. It's not eroding. It's there. What you ProPublica and your report and all that, that's an opinion. The wall is a fact, okay? The wall is a fact. And when Donald J. Trump takes his inauguration on the 20th of January of the year 2021, after we fight through the next 5 months, you're going to see a whole lot more wall. Anyway, we got so much to get through. I want to get the economy. We're going to get back to it. It's on fire. I don't think they're pushing this enough. You got to push it harder. Everybody's got to know, particularly contextualize what we did. But importantly, last night, you had the execution, right? You got to say what it was. They executed the guy, the first guy. The good guy, right? They executed him the other night, and so the police went. And this guy and the guy that shot him went on Vice and bragged about it, right? And bragged about it. And so the cops, I guess, went to game last night, and he's now formally with us.
He is extinct.
He's extinct.
That's before. Yeah, that only happened. After he let off 40 to 50 rounds. On the return fire.
This is what, and we got some footage we're going to play up there. Can we get? We have Jack Posobiec. Is Posobiec with us?
Yes.
Jack Posobiec. Got so much to ask him about China, but I guess
I find it so interesting that this guy, the suspect, the now dead perp, he has a giant Antifa BLM black fist tattooed on the right side of his neck. It's about 5 inches square. The media always shows his picture from the left side of his face.
Wow, Jack Maxing, on it. Posobiec, you there, brother?
Yes, good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Good to be here.
Hey, Jack, I got so much stuff I want to talk to you about China, but let's focus on Portland today. Tell us what's been going on there. Walk through. Was I too harsh? Because I know Media Matters will be all over. Was I too harsh? Was that an execution the other night of the what's
Patriot
the Patriot Prayer? And he was actually the titular chief operating officer of that, right? He was a senior guy. The Patriot Prayer, was that an execution?
Well, Steve, it really depends on which narrative you want to read, because if you listen to Joe Biden, he's been out there saying that this was some sort of event involving pickup trucks and paintball guns and everything else. But actually what he's doing is conflating things. The actual situation is that these guys were walking down the street after the event had ended by themselves. They weren't provoking anyone. They weren't trying to get in anyone's face. They weren't running around with Trump flags or anything like that. Certainly weren't being violent. And then a group of Antifa and BLM spot them on the street. They yell, "Pull it out, pull it out." There's some of them. There's a couple of them. The guy then the victim goes and attempts to mace them. He pulls out bear mace, and someone actually yells, "He's macing you." At that point, the suspect, the now deceased suspect, Michael Reinhold, pulls out his handgun and fires at them, striking him in the chest.
Jack, can you hang on 1 second? We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Jack Posobiec about Portland. War Room Pandemic. Hashtag War Room Pandemic. Let's hear what you have to say. And I promise I'll wake up for the next segment.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire flambe delicious cherries jubilee. Plus it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
Jim and Joanne are here to pick up the same prescription. They both know the system is not on their side. They both know drug costs are out of control. But one of them is taking back control with GoodRx.
Next.
So while he's paying that much, even with his insurance, she's paying this much just by using GoodRx. Use GoodRx to compare prices at pharmacies in your area and stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today and take back control.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes 1 too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance, but she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. We're going to get to Jack Posobiec in a second as soon as Jack Maxey hits his mark here.
Hey, listen, I want to give a big shout out to our Australian guys. I know that you guys are loyal listeners, and I know that you got another lockdown in Victoria. I want to say that we are with you. Victoria, for our global listeners, our Australians know this. They have become almost a running dog state for the CCP. They've been engaged in bridge and Belt and Road Initiative loans. These guys are definitely becoming almost, in my mind, I'm speaking not as an Australian, but it seems to me almost an enemy in your midst. I know that you people are suffering. We've watched over the last several weeks as celebrities get to ride around on their yachts, travel at will, and the deplorables of Australia are suffering. We are with you 100%. We've seen many of the videos of the heavy-handed acts of the police in Victoria clamping down on regular Australians trying to go about their lives. I am in full agreement that this nonsense has to end. And we watch this lockdown occur here while they're giving us inflated numbers in Australia. They're throwing in these death rates that make it look like they're spiking. And in reality, they're just pulling in death rates from a month ago and throwing them in all on one day. I believe that you guys have to fight for your rights. I believe that freedom is important. And one of the things that we've watched through this whole pandemic is the adoption of CCP tactics in free governments around the world. Australia, you're not alone. This is happening here in the United States. It's happening in Great Britain, and it's happening in Australia. And it's very important that we all be cognizant that this virus does not undermine our cherished liberties and our freedoms. World, we are watching Australia, we are watching Victoria, and we are watching your running dog, Dan Andrews. I want you to target this guy. He is a bad apple. Okay? Now listen, people, we got your 6. Send us information. We want to promote it to the world. Okay, big love to Australia from the guys at the War Room. Thank you so much for listening.
Love the Aussies. Also, a new federal state down there. One of the most vibrant parts of the Chinese expatriate global, the whistleblower and the new federal state movement is Australia. So you guys are on fire with freedom and liberty.
And think about it. We just had a Chinese official a few days tell Australia you're going to become a white trash country. They're limiting exports of barley and beef. Guess what? They're about to start starving people. They need you more than you need them. And the world needs a free Asia, and you guys are the linchpin for it. We are so excited to be in partnership with you in India and Japan and the United States so we can keep that part of the world free.
And just editor's note, Jack means target him politically.
Target politically, yes. That's his name is Jack Maxey, and you can track him down. Jack, I think, when are you going to get your passport and run for office over there? Jack Maxey on fire.
I'm all for it. Listen, man, Australians are our brothers. I've never had more fun hanging out with Aussies than anybody in my life.
And we have a huge audience in Australia, and also the new federal state guys down there. I think it's one of the most vibrant of the new federal state.
Great. Now we're going to have New Zealanders calling in.
We'll take the Kiwis. Come on.
No, but they're going to say, oh, the Aussies are the most fun.
Okay, let's deal with problems here in the United States. Posobiec, last night, this guy goes on Vice and basically admits to killing the guy. Right, then tell us what happens for our audience, maybe getting up on the West Coast and haven't heard the news.
Yeah, Steve, it's actually really incredible. So Vice puts out the promo to this guy's interview, the alleged Antifa murderer, and yet the actual interview is supposed to run at 11 p.m. Eastern. The news breaks almost simultaneously at 11 p.m. Eastern that the suspect has been located by a federal task force led by U.S. Marshals because he had crossed state lines from Oregon into Washington, where he was hiding out at this apartment complex. He was shot dead in the apprehension attempt. Now, I'm in contact with witnesses who are actually there on the scene. I'm also reading a lot of reports that are coming out at the time. There is footage of the immediate aftermath of this, and witnesses have said that he produced he got out of an SUV at the apartment complex where U.S. Marshals and their task force was waiting. They had been waiting all day for him, so they knew he was staying there, that he was hiding out there. This is just outside of Olympia, kind of the suburbs of Olympia, and when they went in to apprehend him, he did go into his vehicle and pull out what appeared to be an AR-15 style rifle, pointed it at the agents, at the federal agents, and then 40 to 50 shots later, he was on the ground.
Okay, Jack, we're pressed for time, but again,
a riot. We saw this in Kenosha. We saw it just last night where an alleged murderer fled from Oregon to Washington. Because they are crossing state lines, the Department of Justice and AG Barr must enact the Riot Act against them, must use the information they have for this probable cause to call them up on this and charge them with federal charges. Now, we have seen some indications of this where the Department of Justice just recently has federally deputized the Portland police force through a process. Now, whenever someone goes to attack one of them, even though the local sort of the left-wing DA in Portland there, even though they weren't bringing them up on charges, now federal charges are pending for them because they are considered federal deputies. This is a tactic that is very effective, and it gets around the political gridlock that was preventing some of this from going through. The Department of Justice needs to learn these tactics, use them across the country, use them across the city of Washington, as well as every other city where this group has in their crosshairs.
Are we making any progress on designating Antifa as a terrorist organization?
There hasn't been at this point because they're still looking at this from a domestic standpoint, and they have not dug into the international ties of this organization. Of course, they're originated from Germany. Of course, they have large large pockets of forces in the UK, in Canada, even in Australia they exist. They are clearly an international organization and thus duly fitting all the essentials of what would be a duly designated foreign terrorist organization.
Okay, Jack, how can people get to your Twitter account and your social media and all that?
Can always catch me at Jack Posobiec, JackPosobiec.
Naval officer, naval intelligence officer, fluent in Mandarin, and people tell me that speak Chinese said they love your Mandarin. So very impressive, Mr. Jack Posobiec. Thank you very much for joining us as a patriot here on the War Room Pandemic. Okay, hashtag War Room Pandemic live stream. We want to hear it all. Want to hear your comments. Take a short commercial break. We're going to get back to the real underpinnings of this. Darren Beatty, Raheem Kassam, next. War Room Pandemic.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kinks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-313-8062.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, only $29.99 with your promo code. With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Sleep well, America!
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha. The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness. During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification, and when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters, or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars with laser illumination technology for just $39.99. You'll also get a protective carrying case, yours free. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight, just pay separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-788-1008. That's 1-800-788-1008. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
That's not working.
Not ideal, but we're
ideal.
back.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back in the war room, but the clip from President Trump is, we don't have the audio on that. We'll just get Avian to clear that up. A few technical difficulties this morning, which we'll get through.
We had a drop, I think, technically for the live stream and for the viewing audience, so we want to go back, before we bring Darren Beatty in, we want to go back and get this sorted.
Yeah, I in that time that we went down, and shocking that we went down in that time, I read from this Transparency Integrity report.
CCP.
That's or Rosa Brooks, who likes to tweet at us.
By the way, Rosa Brooks, I want to have Rosa Brooks on the show.
I already invited her.
We have tremendous respect for you, Rosa Brooks. We don't. Well, she's a Georgetown law professor, right?
Exactly.
We don't go after people that we think. We don't punch down.
We don't punch down.
We do not punch down. We have tremendous respect for you. Look, don't agree with your ideology, don't agree with your politics, but we'd love to have you on the show. We actually think the Transition Integrity Project is quite genius. If you want to take an election, right? If you want to be anti-democratic and take an election by brute force, right? You guys have thought it through. But we love smart people. We just don't agree with you, and we're not going to let it happen. But loved you, and kind of it was her. I guess the way they're putting it forward was her idea at a dinner party. Not quite sure I totally buy that, but no, we'd love to have you on the show. Be honored.
Remember when you said when we come back straight to Raheem?
Yeah. But see, they didn't have the cold open, so I thought I
That's
could jump
true.
in
You
here.
just flipped on it. All right, look. So Rosa Brooks, she's obviously been watching. She actually tweeted back at Natalie Winters last night after one of the clips from the National Pulse show went up, and so I invited her. I said, hey, feel free to come on anytime you want to talk about your Transition Integrity Project, because what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is this is the playbook right here. This is a 22-page playbook on how they intend to steal the election, and it runs through everything. It runs through the different scenarios, which we told you about yesterday, and it runs through what they believe it will come down to. And what they believe it will come down to, in the last segment, we talked with Jack Posobiec about this White House siege that is supposed to begin on September the 17th. And they make very clear admission in this report, and I'm going to quote for it because it was some of the stuff that was lost when the stream went down a minute ago. Quote from page 12 of the Transparency Integrity Report. If there is a crisis, almost every strategy to protect the democratic process is dependent on mass mobilization, and in particular on people taking peacefully to the streets in large numbers, potentially for an extended period. Now, we know the left doesn't take peacefully to the streets, so but they have to put the word peacefully in there. Page 11, planners need to take seriously the notion that this may well be a street fight, not a legal battle.
Wow.
That's their words, a street fight. Sounds peaceful, doesn't it? And then on page 9, this goes to where Biden stands with his base, or the people he wants and needs to be his base, the far left thugs that are in the streets right now. Quote, if anything, the scale of recent demonstrations has increased the stakes for the Democratic Party to build strong ties with grassroots organizations and be responsive to the movement's demands, end quote. I mean, over the course of 22 pages, they've given the whole game away.
I want to just go back before we bring in Beatty. The president talked about yesterday in Latrobe. The president also tweeted, I think for the first time, defend your ballot. That goes right to, I think it goes to the campaign site, to the Army of Trump. They need, 50,000, 100,000 volunteers. We talked about yesterday, things you have to do. The president tweeted yesterday, for the first time, this defend your ballot, which is the get out the vote. I want to go back before we get Beatty and you going, because they're talking about the intellectual infrastructure for how these things drive. You have to know that. We're going to set the context. We're going to get into the details of how it happens, but I want to make sure people understand one thing. This report, they laid out 4 scenarios. The scenarios were, number 1, Biden wins in a blowout on the night of November 3rd. Check, Biden's president. Next, Biden's close, too close to call. Because of their muscle, Biden's president. Number 3 was ambiguous, like 2000. Up in the air, got to be fought. Biden, president. Next was Trump. Next was Trump. AVN's on fire today.
No, literally.
Literally on fire. The fourth scenario in this report, the Transition Integrity Report, was Trump wins close. Trump's up close, or close. He's winning in a tightly contested, but he's winning on November 3rd. In the evening, Biden's president. And then, to make sure they covered all their bases, they ran the model and went to, where'd they go? To Axios, right? The corporatists, and I Mike Allen and the guys over there, Jonathan Swan, great team, but it's the corporatist. You see, go every day, they got the short articles and all the big pharma, big tech, big everybody. Things you notice, don't see around here. They go to Axios on the HBO network and give the interview. And this is the 5th scenario they didn't include. And I want everybody in Trump world, on the campaign, in the White House, in the nation, to embrace this. Trump, on the evening of November 3rd, is up by 424 It's 424 to 102, I think. Maybe 101. I even forget what the over number is now. Trump's winning in a blowout. And by the time you sit down to carve the turkey, according to them, Joe Biden's president of the United States. Okay? Understand something, folks. This is a 5-month grind. If you want to hear, and I don't want to hear a happy talk, oh, what's going to happen November 3rd? Give me a poll. Let me go see the blah, blah. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. If you want to save your country, if you want to save this republic, they're laying it out. That's what I keep saying. Forget this conspiracy. Take the tinfoil hats off. The party of Davos doesn't have enough respect for you to have it in a thing. It's in your grill. The partnership with the Chinese Communist Party is in your face. What they're doing here is in your face. This is why we would love to have Rosa on. They lay it out. They actually use the term street fight. Do you understand if a Trump-affiliated group put that out, that Don Lemon and CNN would literally have a whole entire weekend on that? About he's instigating violence. He's instigating violence. It's all laid out there in front of you. But this is deep, and it's not the first time that they've used this playbook. Okay? But it's the first time, shouldn't say maybe the first time, but it's now coming to the United States. So this is where our republic is. And now we're going to bring on, I think, one of the smartest guys in the country. Raheem, because Raheem, you've been over there. You've been to the Ukraine. You've been to these places in Europe and where this has been done. It's an amazing, amazing analysis. Not lifted, but I think inspired by the show from the last couple of days in the Revolver. And I'm just telling you, the Revolver is the place. The Revolver and these news sites, the Bongino Report, the Revolver, What Finger, Citizens Free Press, all these are the new drudges, right? So I'm going to turn it over. Raheem, you got Darren Beatty, one of the smartest guys in the country, the only, I think, professor at an Ivy League or Ivy League equivalent, since I got smacked the other day, at Duke University, that actually came out and endorsed Trump before the 2016 election. Mr. Raheem Kassam, you got Darren Beatty.
Yeah, Darren, thanks for joining us here. And you know, obviously you've seen this Revolver analysis is absolutely excellent. And glad that other sites are doing this now, because there's still this lack of attention to this issue from the political right. Even though President Trump has tweeted about it, he has this pinned tweet on the top of his feed right now, volunteer to be a Trump election poll watcher, with a link. The link is armyfortrump.com.
That's important. That's important.
Incredibly important. It shows that, once again, the president is out ahead of this stuff. We want to make sure that everybody's abreast of it and that everybody is taking action. Not just listening to these shows and not just complaining about the things that are going on here,
Raheem,
Jack.
on that basis, I want to give a shout out to one of our people, Do I Look Rattled, at Proud New York Vet 2. He says, I signed up today to be an election inspector. I want all of our listeners out there, post that, tag us with hashtag War Room Pandemic. This is what we mean. Action, action, action. Own your vote.
Do we have the clip yet? Can we play the clip of President Trump, and then I want to bring Darren on to talk about this? AVN, do we have that? Do we have that clip? And can we play that? Is the audio going to work this time? Let's roll it.
7 days.
It's not. Okay,
after
stop.
The election.
Yeah, here we
Do you
go.
know that, Mike? 7 days. What does that mean? I want to see the results of the election on November 3rd. What? And by the way, if it's anything like these other events, it could go on forever. I mean, the congressional race, which they just gave up and they declared her a winner, which they should not have done. They should make that do-over. And I think in Patterson they have a do-over. I think they're going to do it over because it was just ripe with fraud, theft. People were selling ballots. People were selling ballots. And, you know, they talk about Russia. They're so worried about Russia. What about sending out 80 million ballots? That's your real problem.
Extraordinary. Darren, I want you to get your first response to that. President Trump saying he wants to see the results of the election on November the 3rd. They don't want the results of the election out on November the 3rd, do they?
No, they don't. I think it's really important to contextualize all of these crazy things that the American people see going on. There's clearly a narrative, as you've described, pushing this notion that we are going to go into a contested election scenario if there is not a blowout victory for Biden. So either it's Biden or contested election scenario. They are engineering a very specific type of dynamic that is not unique, by the way, to Rosa Brooks. As intelligent as and original as I'm sure she is, I would believe that she invented this playbook about as much as I would believe that an Englishman invented the light bulb. She did not invent this playbook.
Boom!
Well, you do have a point, because there was a Scot that developed it further. I'll give you that much.
Okay, keep going. No fighting in the war room.
The playbook pre-exists Rosa Brooks and has been deployed by the United States government in many circumstances to undermine and even overthrow target regimes, principally in Eastern Europe. These are known as color revolutions. Instead of the overt, utterly violent regime change operations we're familiar with, such as in Iraq, where you send a whole army in to remove the government you don't like, color revolutions are a little bit more delicate in the sense that they leverage a combination of undermining the authority of the target regime through precisely these mechanisms of questioning the election outcome, number one, mass mobilization and acts of civil disobedience, number two, and those are generally escalated in a way that invites the authorities to respond and crack down, and those crackdowns are then used as a pretext to further undermine the target regime. So you have a combination of mass mobilization and a situation of essentially a contested election that feeds into the mobilizations, which can precipitate crackdowns, which then further escalate the mobilizations. This, combined with a relentless lawfare effort, throwing it into the courts, as it would be if there's a contested situation with ballots, anything that is not democratic. They use the term democratic, but really they mean anything that is not democratic gives them an advantage. Remember in 2016,
Darren, we have to break. Darren, we have to break.
Hey, yeah, Darren, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Stick around, Darren.
Yeah, Darren Beatty's our guest. We're talking about color revolutions and how they play into this either Biden blowout or contested election. In their version of the contested election, Joe Biden is president of the United States, including where Donald J. Trump has 424 electoral votes on the evening of the 3rd of November, the year of 2020. We'll be back in one moment.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this.
They stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain, and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something. If you can find something to help you get back out and be active, like Copperfit, go for it. Absolutely. Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
My Pillow Topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
Call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. I want to thank the AVN crews actually today, upgrading technology. I want to thank the guys there that do incredible job, help put the show on. An economic blowout day, so a lot of great stuff is happening. We're going to have Kyle Olbert and a bunch of folks in the next hour, including a special guest appearance by General Secretary Xi, giving the War Room posse, and I think GTV and G News, a shout out. But we're going to do that. It's going to be Jack Maxey's going to walk us through that. That's in the next hour. But we've got Raheem, jump in here. We got so much important business. I want to make sure we contextualize this. All the people in the hashtag War Room Pandemic and online in the live stream that are signing up to be election officials. You obviously get out the vote. Obviously, poll watchers. But election officials, get in the room where the deals are going to be made. Okay, that's where you need to be. Raheem, let's get back to Darren Beatty.
Yeah, Darren, I want to throw it back to you to carry on where we left off in the last segment and just do a quick reset for us as well there.
Great. Thank you very much. So this is on this group, the Transition Integrity Project that you've covered so well. I just think this story at Revolver News provides some additional context that builds off of the earlier story on George Kent. And it really underscores this point that this is not a new playbook. This is, in fact, a very old playbook. And as I was saying earlier, there's a regime change model such as what they used against Iraq, which is just overt military intervention. Then there's this color revolution model that is the preferred model in the national security apparatus to undermine and overthrow governments, particularly in Eastern Europe. It's been done in Ukraine. It's probably being done now in Belarus and other countries. Instead of an Iraq-style regime change, what you have is a combination of questioning electoral integrity, mass mobilizations, massive acts of civil disobedience, combined with a coordinated effort of friendly media that converge on a narrative that escalates tensions between the protesters, demonstrators. Whenever there's a crackdown, the narrative is always up. It's an authoritarian, illegitimate, escalates the mobs being brought into effect. Now, I think where this relates to what's going on here is I think there's an interesting formulation, and that is the most famous color revolution, the Orange Revolution, which, by the way, George Soros, who is intimately related to Rosa Brooks and her organization, George Soros and his group, the Open Society Foundation, is one of the premier institutions affecting these color revolutions overseas. It's the same playbook, and just by coincidence, Rosa Brooks, who's on the board of that, is now overseeing this project, which amplifies a narrative that is instrumental to this very playbook. You have the Orange
Okay, hang on a
Revolution.
second. Hang on a second. We may have to keep you over for the next segment, so we're going to be jammed in here for our President Xi shout out. I just want to make sure and reset into the audience's mind, because this is all kind of new information the last couple of days. They're laying out 5 scenarios for the election this year. In a Biden blowout, Biden wins. They've got 4 other scenarios, either too close to call, ambiguous, or Trump wins in a landslide. In all 4 of those, they go under the headed contested election. What they intend to do is a convergence of lawfare, a very sophisticated electoral law with an army of lawyers, and what Bill McGinley's told you for months, they've been prepared with these lawsuits, number one. Number two, with a media onslaught, including, the mainstream media onslaught nonstop about all the, the Trump votes all phony, right? And cutting off, and they say in here, the key thing in the interviews with Niles Gilman is that they're going to hit the switch on Fox because the Murdochs are going to, and they're going to hit the switch on Zuckerberg. And Zuckerberg came out the other day and gave you the tell. Oh, we're stopping political advertising a week beforehand. And we're not going to call, then they say we're not going to call a winner. That also gives them the legal right to say, oh, no. Afterwards, we can't say anything. We should just, stop. So they're going to cut you off.
They're going to suppress people who claim there's a win.
In fact, all night they said they're going to suppress voices said there is a win. Okay, and then the third is the street element, of which they say the thing is that it's going to turn into a street fight. And you see the preamble to that in Seattle and into Portland. The convergence of these forces is the contested election. That's the color revolution. That's what the deep state or this apparatus has done before. And now it's in the United States. We're not talking about Ukraine. We're not talking about, some small country, Bulgaria. We're talking about the United States of America. Okay? This is what you have to wake up for. Stop leaning on your shovel. November 3rd is just another date to check off. They're going to fight this all the way to the eve of the inauguration. That's what I'm saying. Today, on Labor Day weekend, you got 5 months of a grind to fight to make sure it's not just winning on election day. We have to do that. It is making sure that he is actually the guy claimed the winner. Keep going, Darren. We're going to hold you over for the next segment. Keep going.
The formulation here is black is the new orange. Black Lives Matter and the associated protests are the new orange revolution. Black is the new orange. One additional thing I think is important to underscore here. This integrity project and this whole operation is formulated as bipartisan. In one way, you could say it's clearly not bipartisan because the group itself is Soros affiliated. It's affiliated with Biden, as National Pulse has covered, and so forth. But I think there's an additional sense, and maybe an even more important sense, in which it is bipartisan. And that is to say, I think the crucial element to understand here is this is not a right and left thing. This color revolution is being promoted by just about every faction within our security apparatus. You had a newspaper clipping of national security people for Biden. You're having people float the idea of the military having to remove Trump if he doesn't concede the election immediately. Meanwhile, Hillary, as you pointed out, said Biden should not concede under any circumstances. They're setting up things with very dangerous language. As Bill Barr said, they're playing with fire. This is not a left-right thing. This is not a Democrat thing.
Hey,
this is happening.
Darren, hang on. We're going to take a break and we'll bring you back. It is bipartisan. It's bipartisan. It's the globalist. It's the globalist apparatus and their supporters. That's where you get the never-Trumpers in there versus nationalists. So you do have Republicans and Democrats, but they're all globalists. Take a short break and come back with Darren Beatty. They say we're playing with fire. Well, we're going to hit them with a flamethrower. Next on War and Pandemic.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed cast from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction. Then coated 3 times with our durable granite stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared, just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus, it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call